So, hello and welcome to the 1981 update of my quest of bringing the automation game world to life in the game Transport Fever 2. So it has been overall 20 years since the last update. Originally I wanted to have an update in the 70s, but 1981 made more sense for a number of reasons. So we now have exactly 20 years since the last update, and what has happened? Um, Well, quite a few things. So first of all, I have expanded the number of cities which need tools and machines. So for instance, now we have cities like Novobeskov, which not only have food and bricks, like all cities now on the map, but also a few selected ones have tools and machines on top of what they had originally. So that's why we have cities that have all goods, such as Kronograd. So all the capitals, I think, have now all 6 existing cargo items that they accept and that contribute to city growth. Some have 5, so that's the more regional centers. So Novobeskov, for instance, Vashduk in Archana. So Vilborg, as an old capital, also has all 6. Some have 3, some have 4, and yeah, so we have a sort of good mix, and now cities of a different size. So Harford, of course, as another capital, also has all of them, whereas then the more industrial areas here, Kraften has 4, Karlstadt has 4, Berla only has also 5, despite being a capital, because fuel is a bit scarce, so that's on the list for the next and maybe final update. So to double the oil production, so to get more fuel and more plastics. But otherwise, yeah, now we have a range of cities in terms of size due to the number of cargo items they accept. Terso, as another capital, also has 6, and many have 3 or 4. I think there are only a few left which have 2. So that for Archana, that meant to boost the production of lumber, so that the Mara Machines factory, which is the stand-in for my main automation brand's car factory, now produces up to 300 to first connect the Elshan tools factory, which now produces 240, and have its own train line here. And the other factories of that type in Vashduk now produce, I think, the same or a bit less. So over 300 for the machines factory and also over 300 for the tools factory. And what is new here is in the north. So this cooler sawmill is now at 100% production, and it's supplied by the forest in Mentaj and by the forest north of Kronograd. So the logs are shipped all the way to Vashduk via ship and then brought over here with train. Updated Sleaza a bit, the hub, so more incoming and outgoing tracks, so to cope with the additional traffic. And then the lumber, or the logs are shipped here to Kula, and then they are converted to lumber in the sawmill, and then all the way back and to both the Vashduk and then to Mara as well. So I think that was the big change. Otherwise, in Gasmea, also more more of the wood industry. So the 2 forests here in the French-speaking part, Mendo and Corvée, are now connected. Chapelle got a bit of an upgrade here for the cargo terminal. Here we see the new train transporting the logs to Ellisbury, and then we have the Durbridge sawmill 100% and the Lanwick sawmill finally 100%, which also meant to transport more lumber from Ellisbury to Harford, so that the machines factory can now run at full swing. It's a bit moody in terms of steel, and same for the goods factory. And so the tools factory now runs purely on Gasmean lumber, because Hetvesia needs its lumber now for its Tannenstein machines factory, and so that's now purely supplied by its own sawmill. What has expanded is that Gernau now also runs at 100% and exports tools to Fruinia, and also this mainly takes care of the adhesion need for tools, plus now Vianta, Archana is now also supplied, so the adhesion precision tools are in full swing, and also this is now supplied by the adhesion sawmills. And last but not least, we have Perdita here in Fruinia, which also is now at 100% and supplied exports actually to Gasmea. So that was one of the changes here, that we now have these teal colored, so the tools colored trucks, MAN trucks, which are actually useful going uphill. So at least going 50 along these mountain passes here, and then after the mountain pass back down again here through these serpentines to Wilburg, and then tools are being distributed here, so that not only cities take more tools, but also that there is ample supply. And I think now we have exhausted all industries except for Archana, where we still have one construction materials plant and one steel mill here next to Janagrad, which are still unused. So that's then things I will connect for the final update, so to simulate the Archanan boom after the borders open. And I think I'm still limited in, for the machines here and in Vashduk as well. And I might or might not be steel limited for the goods factory as well, once oil production will double, also as the other last thing on my to-do list. Otherwise, what is new? Almost all vehicles. So we have ships, now all large ships on the ocean. So that was one big change, to rework all the ports with large docks, and then replace the ocean-going ships with these large ships, which are still ships intended for rivers, because a Transport Fever doesn't have oceans normally, and there aren't that many useful ship mods for the proper sort of coastal ships. There is one huge container ship which is sort of useless because it's too huge, and also it's sort of broken when you press the horn, which you can do if you're in this sort of camera mode, and we are not on autosave. Then the game crashes with that a huge container ship mod, so that's entirely useless. And I'm not aware of any other ships, at least in the Steam library, that would be a useful upgrade. So the horn, if you press H, then you heard the ship's horn here, and the same applies to all other vehicles. So that's one small gimmick in the game. So now all ocean-going ships here with these a few exceptions. So if they're mainly river-based, then these sort of towboats here, and they can go a little bit to the ocean. I don't have the perfectionism to build the sort of a river port here and then the ocean port there. So that's one, I think, acceptable break from reality, and that applies to all oceans. So in the south as well. So we don't have any small ships on the oceans anymore. Just these large ships. So we have the tankers, which are the more sort of colorful ones, and then the other ones are then the regular ships now plying their trade. I could merge a few lines, but not too many. When going from small to large ships, the main effect is I simply have less ships now on the ocean, and there's still plenty, especially here in the south. So that's a given here with this geography. Train-wise, we have now different set of trains for the commuter trains for Hetvesia and also for Fruinia. So they're using exactly the same trains. Let's see whether I can find one. So no steam anymore, except in one location, and I guess you can guess where that is. So Fruinia is now properly electrified. all the tracks and where are the commuter trains? Let me just find one. There are plenty. So one is in Terzo, so that works. So these Swiss-based multiple units with fast acceleration. More new trains, so full diesel in Gasmea, except for one track. So here in the German part, so then we have German rolling stock diesel for passenger trains and also for cargo trains. So here we see two more examples, also different carriages for cargo. I would have liked to electrify the German part, but unfortunately the mod for the German electric locomotives is not on Steam, and so this is then this sort of nudge maybe that the German part isn't fully autonomous. It's part of Gasmea model on the US, and they I think have not that many railroad tracks that are electrified, so that's why we just have diesel here and no catenary for electric trains, and I might keep it that way till the end. It also suits the existing rolling stock in the vanilla game, so that's the other reason to do that. For ships, one more thing. So we have now these sort of towboats in all but one place for the trade on the river. These exist in two forms. So there's regular one, and then there is one that we see here for oil, fuel, and the sort of crude oil. In the US part, the same, so everything is diesel, and so here we see a nice meeting, which you don't see in real life, so a US train with US rolling stock, a strong diesel, and boxcars and side stakes cars meeting a German style diesel with tank cars. You also see the new passenger trains that have replaced the iconic Santa Fe silver, yellow and red ones. So this is now a box standard diesel with these bi-level cars, and that's then the regular commuter trains for the US part. So Picton is where these trains meet. Yeah, and here we see another there, so that's the a commuter train for the German part, and here we see another meeting that you don't see in real life, so the a passenger train in the US style, that this goes from Picton to Hartford, and here we have the new logs train from Chapelle to Aylesbury. So more of these trains then can be seen around Hartford, and here we still have for the commuter train here the Zephyr probably on its last legs, and here we see the only electrified route in Gasmea, so that's the Metroliner, which is proper high speed. So this goes I think up to 150 before reaching Hetvesia and having it to curve. That's I think 100, 110. So no proper high speed train service, and no, they don't break down as often as the Metroliner did in real life. There are no breakdowns at all in the game. So that's new, whereas the Zephyr is old. Planes, while we are here, so we see so Jet Age has arrived, and a bit of a cheat maybe. So there's a small plane here going to all airports, but Kronograd, so the BAE 146, and here we see the Boeing 737. That's a large plane that only goes between Hartford and Kronograd, because that's the only two large airports. And here for the BAE 146 I need the mod to make this a small plane, because there is no real small plane progression in this game after the DC-4 of 1946 or so. So I need mods to have the smaller large planes from the vanilla game to work with the small airfields, which are common here and which aren't really small airfields. It's the other capital airports. So in Hetvesia and Fruinia and Dalluha, And what I did is paint over this dirt taxiway and make it asphalt, so that there's an upgrade and there's a proper small airport and not just some makeshift thing as the small airport in game looks like. And here we have the other small plane in the game that's actually a small plane. This is the shoebox Shorts SC7, which runs only in the low density routes, so Fruinia Terzo to Berlau and Berlau to Harford, but otherwise this is pretty useless for the high density routes that exist between all other towns. And you see plenty of demand for planes because these jets are fast. So we also have a new express between Berlau and Terzo. So this also is a proper fast, going up to 140 on the long stretches in Fruinia. This is an Austrian locomotive, and then I think German cars with an odd color scheme. We also have new vehicles, so already showed that. So these MAN trucks, which have one useful a characteristic, they have power, so they can go properly uphill, even fully loaded. And so this was useful then to connect everything in the mountains, also for proper supply to Naubad. And finally Tannenstein can run not being limited by what the trucks can carry uphill. So this is now viable and actually limited by the actual supply of lumber in this case. Yeah, though this has the same mood swings as these factories here, depending on the steel supply for the machines and the goods factory. New buses, I think, as well. Do we see one here? Yeah, so this Chevrolet C46 for Gasmea. And some large trucks finally for the US. So here we see one which delivers machines to Springvale. So the longer distance deliveries in Gasmea are now done with these trucks, which can reach 80 on the new roads that we have. So some 4-lane roads go to up to 100. I think all of Gasmea has now at least the regular sort of country roads with 80 and with the center markings. So we also get now much more car traffic between cities. So I think we see this nicely here in Hetvesia. Yeah, so here lots of more cars owned by the Sims. And there it makes sense to have the trucks which can do 80 so that they don't limit the Sims cars. Here we just saw the two express trains meet, so they have each had their own new track in Hetvesia, and now this one is going back to Terzo, and this one here is going back to Harford. So this one is almost full. This one, yeah, almost full. So we have much more passenger traffic thanks to the higher speeds, but also thanks to the better supply with tools and machines. Some buses here. That's an airport bus. There is also one going across the mountains from here to Aylesbury. So again, thanks to the better roads and the more powerful buses, these also have now a good usage by the Sims in the game. So I think that's were the updates for Hetvesia and Fruinia and Gasmea. Yeah, here also all these things were updated with the Emma and dump trucks, so then that they can go up to 80 and need much less vehicles than before with the, I think, Opel Blitz that I had here. Archana, also some changes, not that many though. So we have now diesels for all cargo trains. So this one. We still have some remnants of steam, and that's the passenger trains in the basin. Just looking for one. Just some. So anyway, let's look at that later. But the Dalluhans paid for some electrified track and some express trains, which aren't that express because this line is shared with lots of cargo trains. But the Dalluhans want to have something for prestige, I guess. So they paid for the electrification here of this part of the track between Kronograd and Bazara, and then this at least potentially high-speed train going back and forth. Otherwise, there is still steam going on. Here is one. I think this is not realistic, maybe for the USSR. I'm not an expert on that, but at least in East Germany, behind the Iron Curtain, they still had, 1981, I think, the last remnants of regular steam locomotives in daily use before they switched to diesel or electricity. So that is not fully outrageous, and this is also informed by not the best progression for passenger commuter trains in the Asian car set, so that's why I simply kept these. And the limited Archana funds have been invested into making all sort of cargo trains diesel. The trucks are the same. The ships here are the same, so they still use steam, and just the ships on the ocean are now the large ones, the new ones. So yes, Lisa has now gotten a bit of an update for the increased traffic. More roads are at least not dirt anymore, though there are still some dirt roads here as well. But I think the only proper country road with side markings are either here around Vastuk for some higher traffic, and especially around the capital of Kronograd. So in keeping with that, they would keep their focus there, and the rest, yeah, gets some funds, but maybe not that many. And also the large airport now here to accept the jets coming from the other airports, and yeah, with some good demand. I guess this one needs a third plane to Berlau, and the larger bus based on a Chinese bus here for the airport bus. Otherwise, the Dalluha I don't think has changed at all, except for the electrified route here for the new express train. So I think that was the... I forgot one more thing. We can see here Hovercrafts. So there is no Hovercraft ship between Al-Rilma and Al-Nemra. These go up to 93, so proper fast passenger connections over water, and also I enlarged Al-Nemra a little bit so that the city could actually grow based on the supply. So some land reclamation here, and we also have Hovercrafts on Vianta between Porta Minta and Lawston. So here we see one just arriving, and this is almost full. So here we have even two. So now we have many more connections between Vianta and the rest of the world, and same for Al-Nemra, so we can check the destinations for the Sims living Porta Minta, and we see one or two for most cities. So this has a huge effect whether this is a 30 kph connection with regular ships or a 93 connection with the Hovercrafts, and these are actually the best ships in the game for passengers because their speed matters and not the size of the ship. So that was a brief, but not too brief, update of what has happened. So plenty of small things, almost full new set of rolling stock and flying stock as well. And for the bonus episode, what we'll do is we actually go from island to island. So from Al-Nemra, using the Hovercrafts to Al-Rilma, then as the crow flies, more or less. So we get special permission to go through Rosendorf to Nelova, across the border from Archana to Gasmea, and then all the way to the other island of Vianta and to the end of it to Archana, so that we'll see some areas that we haven't seen before in the previous bonus episodes. So if you're interested in that, it's the next one in the playlists. Otherwise, yeah, the next plans for the next final update, I think, which will be in 40 years, 2021, will be to see whether I can double the oil production to have plenty of fuel and also plastics for goods. Yeah, one new generation of vehicles. So that's why 40 years. So there's basically just one update for most types of vehicles, if at all. So for some, they're already the final ones here. So it's not really worth, I think, having the sort of 20-year updates. There won't be that much difference in the last 20 years. And yeah, so that's the plan. So stay tuned, and maybe see you then in the bonus episode for the ride from island to island. See you then.